Welcome to our video series, Enhancing Remote Learning. This video series is to help teachers enhance their remote learning practices that they are using in their classrooms, face-to-face, or remote currently. Today's video is going to look at the themes of visible learning. This video series is based on the book, The Distance Learning Playbook, which can currently be bought on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. This past spring, when schools closed due to the COVID virus, much of the learning that had been taking place in the classrooms moved to remote teaching. However, did you know that the teaching that took place in the past spring was technically really not remote learning or teaching? It was actually called crisis teaching. What is the difference between crisis teaching and remote learning, or otherwise known as online learning? In crisis teaching, there is a temporary shift in instruction due to a crisis. This means that remote teaching is a solution for instruction that would otherwise take place face-to-face. The primary function of crisis teaching is to provide temporary access to instruction that is quick to set up for teachers and students. During this instruction phase, students are not getting a well-rounded education. More or less, they are getting the immediate skills, techniques, or focusing on standards that they will need to utilize as they move forward in the grade levels. Many of you in this past spring responded to crisis teaching in one of the following methods. By 1. Taking worksheets, making photocopies, creating workbooks or packets, mailing them home to parents, in which case the parents would work with the child and send the packets back. Some of you may have emailed students their lessons for the week. Others may have turned to Google Classroom, while another set may have turned to the Buzz Learning Management System. But what is the difference between crisis learning and actual online or remote learning? Online learning is actually creating a community of learners. Within this community, there are supports, not just instructional, but co-curricular and social. If you remember, in the past spring, many of the conversations revolved around social emotional for students. In an online learning situation, social and emotional learning is actually built into the curriculum, as well as there is a remote guidance counselor and social worker on hand that would actually work with students. Online learning is more well-rounded. It takes thorough planning and development, and that time is usually provided where teachers can work collaboratively together to create an online course which will be built within the next year, and then normally years 2 and 3 are used to tweak the lessons within the course. The focus of this video is going to concentrate more on the online and remote learning situations. Today we're going to look at themes of visible learning. These themes, the 3 that you are seeing currently on the screen, were actually researched, and surveys were taken by educators to identify these themes. These themes have been identified as being present whether you are teaching face-to-face, remote or online, or distance learning. The 3 themes that the study identified was the need to drive to foster students' ability to recognize when they are learning and when they are not, and how to create self-driven learners. This does not mean we are taking the teacher out of the equation. Teachers are always necessary. But we want students to be in charge of their learning, to take ownership of their learning, and recognize when they are not learning. The second theme was impact on instruction. This means that educators understand their impact on instruction when it comes to progress and achievement. In some tools that you may utilize, you can often see the progress that students are making and judge their achievements. In a face-to-face classroom, oftentimes teachers can judge the progress through a data board that they may hang on the wall, tests that they provide within the class, or through the grades that the students are achieving throughout the year. In a remote or online situation, data is often utilized, curriculum is tied to standards, and online assessments may be helpful, as well as projects, in identifying the achievements that the students have made. The third and last theme that was identified by the research was mind frames. What did educators believe when it came to collaborating, creating an educational community? And how was that present in their teaching? Keeping these three themes in mind, I now want you to think. Right now, many of you are in a face-to-face classroom and also trying to keep up with students remotely through the use of online tools. Keeping these three themes in mind right now, I want you to silently answer the following two questions in your head. Question 1. Looking at the themes, how do you enact these themes in a face-to-face classroom? Question 2. How do you enact these themes in a remote or online classroom? This video is actually going to concentrate on enacting these themes in a remote and online classroom. Moving forward, we're going to take a closer look at these three themes and how utilizing a full-fledged learning management system can help teachers meet these themes and enhance the instruction and learning of the students. The first theme we're going to look at is the drive to foster. How are you as an educator organizing your courses and providing feedback that fuels the student's ability to take responsibility for their learning? This means that students are recognizing when they are learning and when they are not learning. And we also want to take a look at how you as a teacher can create self-driven learners within your students. So as we look at our learning management system as a teacher, I'm in my teacher app. And one of the first things that deals with this first theme is being able to provide feedback that fuels the student's ability to take responsibility for their learning. Oftentimes, teachers may get stuck in the rut of just typing back feedback or copying and pasting short responses when they're doing electronic feedback. With a full-fledged MLMS, teachers have more options in how they can provide feedback to students. When I go up into my needs grading, I can click and I see my activity here that my student has done. Over to my right, I have the feedback options here. In my feedback options, I can play with my text. So if my student has trouble reading the screen, they need some differentiation, I have the ability to do this. I can highlight if I need to, so if students need a yellow background for anything, I can provide that yellow background for them. Oops. I also have the ability to insert images and YouTube videos. I can also create my own video. So oftentimes we feel that we lose the one-to-one relationships with students as we move to a remote or online learning system. And this is not necessarily true. You still have the ability to be personal with your students and provide them personalized feedback. With the Insert Video Feedback option, I have the ability to record right within my system. I can record up to 3 minutes of feedback. What's really nice about this is students have the ability now to really see my face. I have the ability to talk with my students and provide them one-on-one personalized feedback that I'm sure that they would really enjoy. Once I press stop, I simply press insert, and the video is inserted into the feedback option for students. I also have the ability to do audio, so if you're not really crazy about having a video feedback option, you're a little shy, like me, you can insert audio as well. Again, simply press record, and then you can provide your audio feedback to your students. This was a really great assignment. I'm really happy that you're catching on with the concepts. Another way that you have the ability to provide feedback is the ability to be able to annotate what students have provided you. So you're going to notice in this homework assignment, my student did a drawing. They had to color the specific numbers. As a teacher, I have the ability to drag and drop this drawing into my box, and I can edit this as well. So I can choose my color. I can choose hot pink if I want to. I can choose the range of how thin or thick my line is going to be. And I can, if I have a pencil or a utensil, I can write. If not, I have the ability to type the text as well. And again, I can still cater, and I can bold, I can underline, I can do everything that I need to do. So just like you were able to when you were face-to-face with students, you do have the ability to bring in some of the features that you had in the classroom when you had papers in front of you, students in front of you, and you were able to provide the feedback. What's great about this feedback feature is it allows you to drive the students forward within their learning. You can have a dialogue with students to find out how they're doing. Are they learning the concept? Are they struggling with the concept that they are teaching? The other thing you can do as well is you can create templates. And what's really great about the templates is you can create groupings. So you can create groupings for homework, for specific math problems, English problems, or social studies problems. And when I go in, I can create a template. Within my template, this may be something that's generic that I say a lot to students, but it also provides me the ability to put in educational videos. So if my student is struggling with a topic sentence, I do have the ability to send them a video within the feedback again that's right there. I don't have to go hunting for it. All I need to simply do is when I come into my box here, I simply click on the template. It populates itself within the feedback form and then gets sent to the student. So this is helping my students understand what they're learning. It's also helping me provide feedback and a relationship with my students as well. Once I'm done, I can simply press the grade I want to give them and submit the score, and the feedback is then sent off to my student. Another important thing as part of the theme to drive to foster is the ability to be able to organize your course. When we go back to our teacher app, and I actually go into my course editor, you're going to notice that my course is set up in regards to units. I have my Midsummer Night's Dream, my King Arthur project. I also have folders for assessments and then supplemental activities for my students as well. When I click on my folders, I can see that everything's labeled clearly for students as Lesson 1, 2, 3. I have outlying things like ebooks and resources that students will be able to find and utilize. This is making it easier for students to find things and be able to utilize the resources I am providing. As well as within my supplemental activities, I've actually created a student choice folder where students can become the teachers in themselves, and they can choose the assignments within the folder that they actually want to accomplish. So as a teacher, I'm still controlling what's going into this folder, and I'm providing them different options that I would like them to look at, but the student themselves gets a choice in what they're going to learn and what they're going to do and hand in to me. So again, staying with theme 1, the drive to foster, I'm now in my learning management system as a student. So from the student side, how am I able to understand what I'm learning and what I'm not learning? How am I able to be a self-directed learner? As I enter the course that my teacher has created for me, right away I can see that I've earned some badges, so this may keep me self-motivated. I can also see how many hours I've spent in my course and how much time I've spent in the course as well. Coming down, I can see a to-do list, course links, and the activities. As I come into my activities, I can see that my teacher has the lessons delved out for me for lessons 1, 2, and 3. So everything's nice and neat and organized for me to be able to follow. I also have some choice I'm going to notice within my course as well. So when I click my student choice folder, I'm going to be able to see that I can choose optional activities. Maybe I've already chosen 2 that I want to look at, and now I'm ready to choose a 3rd. I can simply click, look at all of the options my teacher has for me, and choose which one I want to do. And then I have the ability to complete this assignment. If this is an assignment I think it's too hard for me, I need to go back and reevaluate, I can also always take the assignment away, remove it, and add a new assignment that I think I need to learn. I also have the ability to interact with my teacher as well. So while my teacher is also providing me feedback, I can also send them stuff immediately if I need to. So I can send mail and I can say, I need help. I'm really struggling with this assignment. I can send it, and this email has then been sent successfully to my teacher. My teacher also has the ability to gauge how I'm doing. As a student, I can click up here in my self-assessment, and I can say, my understanding's pretty good on this. My interest is really good. And my effort, I'm really going above and beyond here. And I can update, and my teacher can actually see this on their side as well, so they can see if I'm understanding or if I'm not understanding the topics that they are giving me. And that teacher feedback I showed you at the teacher app, as a student, when I come into the Buzz platform itself, I get an activity stream. When I click on my activity stream, this is all the feedback that my teacher has provided me. So I simply click it. There's my feedback in my video that I can now watch to help me create topic sentences. So I'm really driving forward in my learning, and there are so many other ways that you can do this within the learning management system as well. Teachers can choose from objective mastery to student choice to not being able to move on to activities until another activity is complete, or seeing how long the students are taking to do assignments, how long they're watching videos, and I can also see from the teacher side what students are online at that moment and which students are offline at that moment. So regarding theme 1, for the organization, the feedback, and having students have the ability to be able to take control of their learning, we can see that using a full-fledged learning management system really helps me complete this theme as a teacher and as a student. Theme number 2 that we're going to look at is the impact on instructions. So how do the educators understand their impact on the instruction when it comes to the student's progress and their achievement? In other words, what methods are we using to measure how the students are progressing and achieving, and how do we use that data to adjust our teaching accordingly to what the students need? So once again, I'm in my Buzz Learning Management System, and this time I'm at my People page. And my People page in Buzz actually helps me understand what impact I'm actually having on instruction and where students' progress is, where their achievement is, and maybe what adjustments I need to be able to make. Now this People page is customizable, so I can go up to my cog here and I can actually show and choose which visible columns I really want to be looking at. Once I've got those selected, in my current People page, I can see the self-assessment that my students did earlier. So I can see their understanding level, I can see their interest, and I can see the effort that they're putting into the course. I can also see their scores and the progress that they're making within the course, as well as the mastery that they're doing within the course. I can see who's online currently, and I can see the performance too. If I want to delve deeper into a student, I can simply click on a student's name, and this takes me into the student's gradebook itself. So I'm looking at an individual student right now. I have the ability to put this student on a clipboard if I choose to, and I can also print this off to hand out to my parents, my principal, or whomever I need to. I get an in-depth look at how the student is doing, what assignments they've turned in late. I can also see the student's individual objective mastery. So I can see what objectives that we have in our course, how the student is faring on those objectives, and then also what assignments in this course are tied to those objectives that the student may have done already. From the People page, I can then go into my gradebook. Looking at my gradebook, I can see when my students last logged in, what their overall average is within my course, how many overall minutes they have spent in my course as well. So are they putting a lot of time in? Are they putting minimal effort in? And then I can see individually on the individual assignments how much time they're putting in as well. If I want to look at some data analytics for a test that they've taken, I can simply go to the test, click on the title. I can see the date that the kids took it, the status, and then I can look at my analytics. In my analytics, it's going to show me how my students are doing, where my frequency of scores was, how they did on the questions. To look at the individual answers that they all chose, I can click down on the hats, and I can see what percentage of my students chose which answer for the questions. I can also tell if there's something wrong with my question when I hover over to see if there's discrimination with it. I can even delve down further to see how my students did on their standards, where they're falling, and what work I may still need to do with them, as well as I can look at them individually to see where they've come through and how they're faring on the standards too. And what's great about this is all exportable, so I can export a multitude of things that I can keep with me in an Excel file. If I need to make an adjustment to a student's learning, maybe they're struggling and I'm seeing that, I can again go back to my People page. I can select the people I need, and then I can add them to a clipboard. Once I add them to the clipboard, I can now adjust the learning for these students. I can differentiate or I can accelerate their learning. I can create an assignment, point them to a YouTube video. I can also go to a digital library that I have access to, and I can actually pull in content from other vendors or other content that I've created as well. So for instance, if my students needed help, I could go to my course, click open, and provide them some extracurricular activities that they would be able to do within the course to help them out. I can even make these gradable. I can choose a destination and a due date for these as well. I can assign an essential question if I want to. I can do the weights categories, and then I can assign to my students. I can also send them all messages if I needed to, right from here as well. So I really have the flexibility to be able to measure the impact of my teaching and also be able to really evaluate my instruction and help those students who need differentiation and acceleration within their learning. Our third and last theme deals with mind frames and the relationships and collaboration that teachers have among themselves and the students. So what are their beliefs when it comes to relationships, when it comes to the collaboration within the classroom? Management system can really help teachers be able to collaborate and build relationships with each other, even if they're far apart because they're teaching remotely from their homes or in different buildings. You can always opt to create a master course. Within the master course, all of the teachers within the department or within the grade level would have access to be able to add, contribute, and share the materials. Once the master course is built, then individual teachers would receive individual courses in which they can differentiate and accelerate according to their students' needs. Also in the master course, you can always add a discussion board and a wiki to really enhance the collaboration and discussion among your teachers. In order to foster relationships and create collaborative relationships with students within a learning management system, teachers have various options. They can add a blog and have students contribute and comment on each other's blogs and have a really discussion about current events that are happening, books that they're reading, projects or labs that they're conducting. There's also the ability to do a discussion board where students can be grouped together, and the discussion board can be used as a place for the individual groups to be able to house their ideas. There's peer assessment as well as a wiki where students have the ability to collaborate. So what do some of these things look like? If we go into our project, you're going to notice in the project we have 2 discussion boards. So as we go into the preview of the discussion boards, you're going to be able to see that you can have the question that you're posting, and you can also add videos to this as well, and then your students can have a discussion below. They have the ability to respond to each other, as well as be able to share links, videos, and attachments as well. So they really have a lot of freedom to be able to collaborate and work together. Further, with the peer assessment, students can trade papers with each other, and you as a teacher can provide a rubric that the students would grade the project, the paper, the homework on that they're doing. And ultimately what would happen is they would add a group member, and then they would be able to review using the rubric and be able to provide feedback to each other. They can also click on peer help to see who has already done this assignment, so if they need to email each other on the side to collaborate and get help from each other, they also have the ability to do this. As well as to keep in touch and build relationship with your students as well, when you go to your people page, you have the ability to email students. So you can select as many students as you need to. You can select one, or you can select many, and you can click send mail. The students will be attached. You can even decide if you want to send to recipients and observers. So this could be special ed teachers or parents that are observing the student and what they're doing in your classroom. You can simply type a subject, and then provide them an email. So you see, a full-fledged learning management system really allows and provides the means in which you can follow the three themes of providing feedback, driving the students to be their own learners. It also provides you data in which you can see how you're teaching and how that teaching is impacting your students and helping them achieve. And it also allows and provides you the opportunity to be able to collaborate with other teachers and with students and students between students as well. So we would like to thank you for joining us for our first video in the Enhancing Remote Learning series, and we hope that you join us next time.